to set.
Camera speed.
Sound production, take one.
Action!
There's so much about these conversations we have about film and movies, aka powders, that's our own personal experience. And if I could tell you guys about my personal, like where films touch me, and if I could tell that to you guys, all of you, all my film buffers, because we're growing, the AKAPAD army is growing in ranks. If I could hear your experience with some of these movies, all of you, I 1000% would. I would start a different podcast where I would speak of a impact of a movie moving me, pun intended, and then going to you and talking to you about it and documenting that and documenting where your frame was and what you felt when you watched the movie. Lee 2023 is a movie I would love to have that experience with. I want to know where you are when you watch this movie. I'll say right now, 2023 Lee, Kate Winslet, it got a couple nominations, right? It moved around. What didn't happen was an Oscar conversation. What didn't happen was an Oscar push. And it's beyond me because this movie portrays this life that is absolutely fascinating, and it's a little heartbreaking at the end. But what comes out of all of this, it's just euphoria. And something happened. I watched this movie, which essentially is a model turned photographer for Vogue, and she is in the dirt when it comes to World War II. And we get that feminist argument, that woman argument where I want to go to the front lines, and they're like, you can't go, we can't send a woman, and we have scenes like that. Who cares? Those scenes mean nothing to the overall point and intent of this movie. But this woman ends up documenting the Holocaust. And we see Paris in a little bit of the height. It's a little bit like Cabaret, where in Cabaret they're so wrapped up in the enjoyment of everything. The Nazi occupation kind of washes over everyone, but then everyone chips away. Like they kind of wither away as that musical marches on. Pun intended there too. So we get this like loss of innocence with this movie. And then we see her witnessing these atrocities for the first time, and we get glimpses of some of these pictures, and then we find out at the end that she relatively kept it, and once she was done with this just moment in her life, if you will, she moved on. It's her son that finds these photographs. Had no idea what his mother documented, what she saw. They never spoke of it. Lee Miller is Lee. Her life is, it just moves me. I wish I could frame it or phrase it in a more articulate way. And I think something's happening. And this is a very tough thing for me to preach, because a lot of, I'll tell you a little bit of my daily routine. Is I go into the office, and today, well, I would say like this last week, just a lot of back and forths and a lot of office activity, somewhat under the weather for Monday, a little bit of Tuesday. But Wednesday, Thursday, it's just like busy, lots of people, phone calls, conversations, text messages, email. I'm hunched over Microsoft Teams in one form or another all day. But to break it up, I will do a chunk of work in the office building, in my office, talk to who I have to, all of it. And then I'll go to, in Center City, Philadelphia, there's a Paris Baguette. There's actually two of them all within walking distance, and I toggle between the two. I go to Paris Baguette so much they know my order, which is fine. I think that's a accomplishment. And I sit down, drink my iced coffee, and a lot of times before I go to Paris, I'll walk through the local Barnes and Noble. Philadelphia has a gorgeous Barnes and Noble, and the art section is right in the front. I love it. And in the art section, they have these tables. They have a couple round tables, and it's just so perfect and neat looking. Well, today they had the Lee book. I never saw it before, never heard of it until I watched this movie. And they're using it's not a new book too, AK Powers, right? But it's the thumbnail. The thumbnail of this episode, the movie poster, and it says now like a movie. And it's somewhat of a smaller, thicker book, but not very wordy. But it's got all these picture sections of her. It was $18. I bought this sight unseen. I thought it was Providence that this movie has affected me. And the next day, today, that book is there waiting for me. It's almost like that book found me. So I spent the afternoon reading it, and I got through a good chunk of it too at Paris Baguette. And I want to tell you guys, we think we know things. We think we understand lives. We think we even understand our own life. And I read so many biographies. I love reading biographies because it gives me a little bit of a hint on what my life is and what I'm doing. And in a weird way, there's just these people speaking to me through like the pages, and I think they're just giving me advice. I think they're trying to nudge me along, trying to make the world make a little bit more sense. And what this woman went through, what we see in this movie. Now, here's you guys want to hear a goofy thing? You know, like when you hear too many writers and this or not. This movie has, number one, it's based on the lives of Lee Miller by Anthony Penrose. This is her son. Story by Lem Dobbs. I love that freaking name. Marion Hume, John Coley. Screenplay by Liz Hanna, John Coley, Marion Hume. We have 7 story credits, and if you want to add Kate Winslet and Ellen Kuras, who's our director, and Ellen herself is in a way her own Lee Miller. Her Wikipedia is just insane. I never heard of this girl, and she is an absolute weapon. Went to Brown University too. Shout out to Brown. Cedar Grove, New Jersey. This woman's career is nothing. Cinematographer, short film, documentaries, concert films, television miniseries, TV movies. She's directed 1 feature movie, miniseries. I mean, her accolades, awards, and nominations. It just goes on and on. I don't know anything about this girl, but I want to say maybe like a little bit of providence there with Ellen Kuras directing this movie. I think she was able to see the material, not understand it, but see it. So between her and Kate Winslet, we add another 2. We got about like 8 people, 8 people attached to. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, we got maybe 8. No, maybe 5. Okay. Well, we have a lot of people that have a say in the story that we see in Lee, and I was able to catch it, by the way, on Disney Plus. Go check it out. But we have a lot of cooks in the kitchen. We always hear about too many writers. And I think of the Toy Story movies. I think about Casablanca. I think about The Wizard of Oz, the original MGM. I think Gone with the Wind, right? Like all of these movies, a ton of writers, all involved. Lot of cooks in those kitchens, and for me, AK Powders, the best kitchens have the best cooks, and it's not just one guy or girl. So anyway, we had a chaotic day today, but there was no way I was letting this conversation slip, because I did what I did at the end of Is This Thing On? This movie. I watched it at night. It was late at night. I'm in the dark. The credits roll, and I just sat there, didn't move, just took it in, absorbed it. All right, AK Powders, I love you guys. What a fantastic movie. Lee 2023 should have really had an Oscar run. Should have been much more discussed. I'm hoping that this film finds its audience, because this is a person's life that we all should know about. I love you guys. Rock and roll.
Okay, that's a wrap.